Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, a video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUD lineup decisions. I apologize for the couple days of lack of Who Should You Choose episodes. MLB The Show 25 came out. I did a 24-hour stream. NHL MLB 25. Unbelievable game. Absolutely love it. Uploaded my first starter guide on the channel. So if you're getting into MLB The Show, be sure to check that out. I show you exactly what to do to build the best team possible. Again, not by spending money, but we've got NHL to discuss. So let's get into the comments from the last video. We'll start first with No Whammy. Hey, Sleeves, with objectives, I've got the resources to make 2 more MSPs from this event. If your lineup looked like mine, who would you be replacing and who would you make to do it? So he's got McKinnon, Linden, and Madonna as his first line. He's got Nylander, Titans, Zetterberg, McDavid, Ovi, Crosby, Kucherov, Kyrou, Larkin, Rantanen. His defense is Montour and Keller, ASP and Niedermeyer, Anderson, and Lidstrom. Okay, he can make 2 more. I love Bondra's card stat-wise, but I don't know if I should look to replace Kyrou over your Lidstrom before Rantanen, unless you'd put Rantanen where Larkin is. P.S. I've played a lot of franchise last few years, but I've been in the content since I picked up Hut back in December. I lived in St. Catharines, too, and it's dope that the best and most consistent content creator of one of my favorite games is local. Hope you keep with the awesome work and bring being a bright spot in the Hut and NHL community. That's awesome, man. Let's go. Okay, when it comes to what you should upgrade... Sorry, my camera freezing there. When it comes to what I would do in terms of replacements, I would honestly... God, that's tough because replacing Kyrie... You could move on from Zetterberg and make... Oh my goodness. I think your move is to make Natchez or Fantilli simply so that you... Because you have a lot of cards where they're like... You're trying to fit a hole and it's just like... You know, you want to have some lineup flexibility. To be honest, I think I would make... I would play Madonna at center. Honestly, you could take Zetterberg down if you want to keep Crosby and Larkin. And then make Madonna center. And then make Bondra as one of them. And then on defense, I would make... Oh my God, drawing a blank. This is what happens when you spend 3 days away from NHL. Dan Boyle as the other defenseman to replace Four Nations, Anderson, or get rid of ASP. It's okay to move on from ASP in this event. That's a lot of the questions, honestly. I'm getting a lot of that. Lineup question. Hey, Slaves, I've made 2 Warp Speed players. I've been able to make 1 more for this event. Who should I choose? As always, thanks for the great content and advice. Go Sharks. Larkin, Madonna, McDavid, Kyrou, Larkin, Kucherov. He's got Zucker, Gartner, Thornton. On defense, he's got Makar and Sanderson, ASP and Forsling, Anderson and Heiskanen. I would make Owen Tippett. Hey, Slaves, I have a lineup question. I don't know if I should get Peter Bondra or Montour. Here's my lineup. He's got Tippett, Madonna, McDavid. He doesn't know between Bondra or... Because so Bondra would play, well, above McDavid. So he'd be your first line. In terms of Montour, he would also be your first line. I would rather have Montour, or sorry, Bondra than Montour in your situation. Hey, Slaves, love the videos. I have enough to make 5 Warp Speed players. What position should I make? Should I do just 1 at each position, or do you think I'm really weak in one spot? Also, but to have Lemieux, big Pens fan, so probably my 4th line somewhere. That is so sad to say. Team of the Year, Max, Zetterberg, McDavid. Right off the bat, one of them has got to be Madonna, no matter what here in this situation. You've got Keller and ASP, so second would be Montour. So I would go Madonna, Montour. Honestly, Dan Boyle as well. And then I would go... So that's 3. And then I would go Tippett. That's 4. And lastly, I would go Bondra. That's 5. I just started playing Hut a couple weeks ago, and I'm able to make 3 of the Warp Speed MSPs. Who should I craft? He's got Ovi, Zetterberg, and Larkin. 100% needs to be Madonna. Guys, Madonna is number 1. he is just like blanket number one. I would make, if you don't have him, he is where I would start, especially in your situation. So that would be one of them. Next, I would make Sanderson. And your third one, I would make Bondra. Hey, Sleeves, just looking at the content. I need a left defenseman. I don't know who to make. Niedermeyer or Sanderson. Thank you. Love the amazing videos. I said this in my ranking video. You're splitting hairs. So whoever you like more as a player. If you really want to min-max, I would probably take Sanderson over Niedermeyer by the slightest of margins. Like, you won't notice it. Hey, Sleeves, I was looking at highlights of NHL. How do you feel about Ilya Kovalchuk's team builder? How do you feel about an Ilya Kovalchuk team builder? I feel this year they did a good job of team builders, even if they are bad value. Also, why did Niedermeyer moments they used the Devils team instead of the Ducks alumni? Not sure on that. I actually was doing it on stream and I saw that. I'm not sure as to why, they did that. But nonetheless, is what it is, as they say. We've got Kovalchuk team builder would make a lot of sense for sure. I think that they don't have the rights. He just retired from hockey. I think was he in the KHL? If he's in the KHL, that's something they don't have rights to. They cannot put a KHL in there. So, Slaves, more of a comment than a question. I totally agree with how illogical it is to make us play with a new set of event players I don't want to play with, since I stopped doing the master set objectives and just play with the team in squad battles and rivals plus moments in wildcard. I've noticeably been more enjoying the game. Yeah, it's just FOMO. I talk about this a lot, guys, that when you find yourself feeling the need to do something, like it's a stressor, where you're like, oh, man, I'm running out of time this weekend. I got to get my Hut Champs games done. But you're not like, man, I can't wait to play Hut Champs. Same thing with like objectives and stuff. That's when you need to just take a break. I don't care what it is. Another game I've mentioned before, like if I know a lot of people aren't into baseball, so I know MLB The Show is going to be talked about a lot. MLB The Show, I do want to mention this. I've come to the conclusion that MLB The Show is the cozy game for sports gamers. For what I mean by that is it is the Animal Crossing where you just chill, relax. If you want to be super competitive, you can, but you're just chilling on the couch. Like, you don't need to stress about it. MLB is that game. So it does offer that. I know a lot of people that don't like baseball, never played baseball, but they get into it, and the mode itself is really flushed out. Diamond Dynasty. But more importantly, like any other game, if you want to play, you never played Starfield, something like that, you need to just try a different game. But when you just play with like the players you want to do, you'll see this a lot from me now going forward, because I am switching in the second half of the year after the 6 months is gone. I'm switching to like 70% MLB, 30% NHL in terms of my streams. I just play Rivals because I actually enjoy playing Rivals. I've always played NHL not competitively, but the way I enjoy NHL is playing against another opponent online in 1v1, right? Like, that's how I enjoy it. So that's what I will do. All the other stuff, I won't bang my head against if I don't feel like doing it. Hey, Slaves, hypothetical team of the season question. If Marty Natchez gets a team of the season card and he has a trade-in set for his Warp Speed Master card, do you think his team of the season would have 99 skating attributes? Or would the team of the season card have mid-90 speed and agility and be back on the normal speed progression path for the remainder of the game cycle? I always enjoy watching your content at the end of my workday. Cheers from Winnipeg. This is the issue. This is why I said burn your collection. The team of the season cards, unless they do something crazy, they will just be an overall. They will not match the highest attribute of every card. It's just the overall. So no, it will have probably mid-90 skating. My guess is if they have a warp speed card, they'll add in like speed burst or speed boost or acceleration boost to get close to 99. That'd be my guess. But no, I would anticipate that the warp speed cards are probably going to be better than the team of the season variants. Ace Sleeves, thanks for the content. Just a quick question about the Season 4 collectible sets. Which one is worth it currently? Have 59 tokens. Is it worth doing the 82 plus one for 2 collectibles or the 86 plus one for 10? Is there a different one I should be doing? Depends on what you're trying to do. In my opinion, you should be trying to make warp speed players. The safest way to do warp speed players is 85 and above. You can cheap out and go the 83 route, because you get to open 2 83 plus packs for an 80 for 10, as opposed to 185 and above pack for 10. The guarantee is that you're at least If you don't get an 85 in those 83 plus packs, you only need it in one, but if you get two, then you've wasted 10 collectibles. This event is super important, so I would be completely risk adverse. 85 is the barrier for entry. I would just do the 10 for 85. You'd be able to make six, basically, you'd be able to make 85 and above items, which would then, the 85 and above choice pack, sorry, which would then allow you to make 287 overalls, which is almost 189 overall. That's where I would go. I'm currently catching up on your videos, and during episode 99, you spoke a little bit about FUT, and it got me thinking, or maybe hoping, my favorite part of FIFA Ultimate Team is Evos, upgrading average cards to make them at least semi-usable. All year you've been saying it feels like they want to take the big chase cards away. If this is indeed the goal, I'm hoping, praying, begging HUT adds Evos. I'd never turn the game off. I have said this since MLB 21. This was something that should be adapted by every single Ultimate Team game mode. I'm not just talking about EA NHL. I'm talking about Madden, NBA, all of it. The parallel system is essentially what the Evos is in FIFA. Basically, you earn XP by just playing with the player in any mode, and you can upgrade them to parallel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And when you get to parallel 5, or every single one along the way, you go up however many for each attribute. When you P5 a card, that's +5 overall, and it's for every card. It could be a random team of the week that you like. For example, in NHL, if there's a team of the week player item that you like from your favorite team, and you use it for like 2 months on your squad because you really like the player and you're building a theme team, he could be up to, like, if he started an 85, it could be a 90, right? If EA adds that, it adds longevity to cards and makes theme teams far more viable. Again, something that MLB does very well is the captain boost, and it allows you to build a theme team. So if you have, let's say, 5 San Jose Sharks in your lineup, you would get +2 to every attribute. That is a shark. If you've got 10 sharks, you get maybe +3. And if you've got 15 or even a full lineup, you get like +6. It would make it so much more viable and just open up the mode so much, because one of the things that over the course of my career so far that I'm starting to not enjoy is that, a couple years ago, I wasn't big. I wasn't pushing use your favorite cards as much because I didn't realize how important that really is. Because I've always just been locked into the most competitive NHL, right? To be the most competitive. But what ends up happening is people end up with roughly the same teams, right? And that's always been pretty bad. And this year it's a little bit different. Events like the Gallery of Greats and Warp Speed event is awesome, because if you don't want Madonna, you could make Natchez. If you didn't want Natchez, you could make Tippett. Like, a lot of people have the same similar ones, but if you didn't want to, you could make a choice between the two because they're very similar. And I think that we need to see more differences in teams, and that would be a way the Evos would 100%. I'm also leaning on the side of dreading playing rivals in HUT. Warp Speed players with the use of the trigger is so hard to defend against. Yes, I understand. Get better as a solution here. With that said, I have chosen to play franchise and enjoy my peaceful time instead. I've mentioned this over the course of the last few months. The meta this year is the most frustrating to me, even more than the quick wrap in NHL 23. Was that 23 or 24? God, they all blend together. 23. 24 was the forces across crease. 23. I just can't stand now in my old age anything that does not happen in game, in real life. So you do not get a speed boost when you mohawk with your back towards the boards. Like, I love the debate or people that come into my chat and say that, mohawking and skating on your edges like that is in real hockey. I don't care if it's Cale Makar. He doesn't get rocket skates detached out of every single time he does it. He keeps his speed, which is fine. But this is just, it leads to something that doesn't look like the real game. Even D-to-D one-timers, I don't mind, because at least that happens in real life. Does it sound like this arcadey cannon going off when they take a one-timer? No, but to be honest, when you get a one-timer in the Ovechkin spot and you hammer one upstairs and it makes that ridiculous, like, slap shot noise, I get kind of fired up for that. Love it, right? I don't mind that. There's a lot of things that need to be adjusted. It just feels like the last 3 years in terms of gameplay, in hockey, it will always be so subjective by the community. I've said this for years now. You will never, get a game of NHL where 70% of the player base enjoys the gameplay, because people either like sim-based gameplay or they like arcadey gameplay like Crazy Deeks and things like that, right? It is a very, very subjective and polar opposite thing. And for one, I'm not big on it. I've realized that I like sim-based a lot more, but that also means that like random bad goals just go in a lot. NHL 22, if you go back to listen to my videos, man, I complained about the gameplay in that, because in NHL 21, there was a lot of, I don't want to say glitch goals, but there was go-to goals. And they weren't glitches like the backs getting an L2. It was just shots that you could do, that you could set up, that would go in. And 21 was probably my best year ever competitively. Almost qualified for GWC. And when it comes to 22, it was so sim-based. They got rid of every single glitch goal possible. And I found that it was just waiting for someone to randomly score, right? And I didn't like it at the time, but now looking back, oh God, I would take that so much more over what we have now, because I just don't want like the full pressure system and the stuff on the ice and the hitting. It's just so arcadey, and it's just not for me, right? Some people do enjoy it. It's just not for me, right? So, but I understand it. The 99 speed with that, something that happens when I play on stream. I'm in Division 2. I get stream sniped all the time. If someone does it, I'm just like, ah. If I lose, I lose. I don't beat myself up about it. I'm like, whatever. Ace Slaves, I would love to use my own players, but why would I use a super expensive X Factor McDavid or Hollow Gretzky when we can get a free Stützle and Madonna? Just makes sense to keep recycling MSPs rather than playing the long game. Yeah, that's something we learned this year. I don't know. Like, it wouldn't surprise me next year if they take all the data compiled of like sets made and the communities thing, and maybe they pivot and they go, okay, we need to invest in cards long term. That's not what I think happens, but it looks like we've gone to a shift of event items exclusively, which means that going into next year, I would just completely avoid, like, if I were to redo NHL 20, like if I were to go back to launch, I wouldn't have made X Factor McDavid at all. I wouldn't have made, I wouldn't have worked towards any hologram, like making a, actually, I don't mind making a Ginla because Ginla's my favorite player. But I would have invested even more in fantasy again. But outside of that, like, we're just chasing event items. Kucherov got an upgrade to 92, sitting on Hughes at 90 currently, hoping he gets a bump. This is my first full year playing Hut. I've enjoyed it I enjoyed it as some of it's frustrating. I've enjoyed your content. Grats on the 100. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Ace Slaves, the market needs to be fixed. It's stupid how cards have no value anymore except these chase cards to make the current MSPs. They have to bring back making prior MSPs to fix the market. The game is getting boring. Congrats on 100. I agree. One of the weirdest things they took away was the ability to make prior MSPs. Again, I would assume that the reason for that is just FOMO. Like, they want you to, a good event comes out, like Warp Speed, they don't want you to be able to go back and make old MSPs, because when the new events come out, they're like, let's say the Cornerstones event, if it's lame, everyone's just gonna be like, all right, I don't care, I'm not making these, I'll just keep working towards Warp Speed cards. My guy, now that I have a stacked lineup, I struggle with line arranging. Any quick tips on how to approach line building? So, what I would do is your fastest players. Like, speed is the differentiator. So if you have someone that's like 3 or 4 speed higher, they go higher in your lineup. Outside of that, you want to put your righties on the left-hand side. When it comes to centerman, 90 would be the lowest I would want in terms of face-offs. Anything lower, and you better be unbelievable at the counters. But yeah, I'm not really sure what else I could say without seeing your team. So. Ace Slaves, thanks for the content breakdowns this year. You really have helped my No Money Spent team become a God Squad. Now to my question. I'm looking to build a left-handed defenseman, waiting for week 2 to build. I'm not sure to take out of the lineup. I currently have Makar, Taves, Hannafin, ASP, Foot, and Hughes. So, personally, I would 100% make Boyle or Montour, whoever you want. Like, again, they're very whatever. And I would actually move on from ASP. Foot, the cost for Foot is just so high, and he's a very good card. So I would move on from ASP. In terms of, I guess, actually, you know what? You've got Makar. You're benching Team of the Year Hughes. You could probably move on from Taves. You know? You could probably move on from Taves and go with Sanderson or Niedermeyer. That's probably the way to do it. It's very... Taves, Hughes, you don't want to get rid of because he's, you know, that one's tough. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yep, the 100% the biggest gripe I have with 25. Yep. Would love to see pack and play versus your friends, just more gameplay videos overall. We love seeing you in your element. 100%. I like doing the gameplay videos and no money spent. Those ones definitely take the longest time, and it's just more of a time issue. But I need to make that a priority for sure over the summer and things like that. I like doing the gameplay breakdowns. I'm no longer great at the game in terms of my ability. I also don't play it as much, but I've watched and understand the players that play at the highest level. My thumbs just don't do what my brain wants it to. And that's old age, you know. But that being said, I can explain it very well. I do think that I can instruct people and show them how to get a lot better at the game. So it's something that I definitely should be making it more of a priority. Thank you guys again for taking a look and leaving all the comments and things like that. I'll be sure to reach out and make another episode of Who Should You Choose tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Have a good one.